2 weeks ago, the United States officially recognized the legitimate government of Venezuela and its new president, Juan Guaido. We stand with the Venezuelan people in their noble quest for freedom, and we condemn the brutality of the Maduro regime, whose socialist policies have turned that nation from being the wealthiest in South America into a state of abject poverty and despair. Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free.
Landing ground.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is the Morning Moment. We're on weekdays, 11:45 Eastern. Follow us on Spreaker.com and click on the like button. This piece I've called The Warren Threat. It's 2 clips. One is from Fox News and the other one's from CNBC. The 2 pieces show how Wall Street is starting to get very nervous about Warren and the possibility of her becoming the Democratic candidate and one step away from being a president. The first, as I say, comes from Fox News, it's Stuart Varney, and the second one's from CNBC, and there's a plethora of people commenting. They both seem to come to the same conclusion. Even if the second clip from CNBC is a little obscure right to the end, and then they come right out with it. It's clear that any threat to Wall Street would be an absolute disaster for America. For those Americans, however, who hate the current president, President Trump, but are benefiting from the massive economic growth, they should take note and should be very concerned that that possibility, i.e., Warren becoming president, could come true. Your current wish for a recession to push the president out of office now, and for those of you, of which I'm one, who suffered terribly under President Obama, let me tell you this. You'll look back at the heady days of Obama with great fondness and great envy if Warren ever got the reins of power. The other aspect of Warren that should not be underplayed is the fact that she's a communist. Therefore, with that in mind, the military would be all but dismantled. Despite the fact, by the way, that she's a millionaire, that's irrelevant. I fear greatly for the very survival of America. I doubt very much that for just one term of her in office would not see the end of America as we know it now, which after all has always been the ultimate goal of communists. Seeping, creeping, never sleeping has never been a more apt phrase. That describes liberals, Democrats. It matters not what they call themselves, even progressives. The title means nothing. It's their policies that will ultimately define who they really are. But unfortunately, by then, when the mask has been removed and their true identity has been revealed, it will be too late. Here are the clips. Links on my site.
Down in Houston, a new op-ed in the New York
Post claims Wall Street is already freaking out at the thought of her becoming our president.
It goes on to say, quote, banks, for all their faults, are usually good at assessing risk, and they say the risk of a Warren presidency is real. They're right to be scared, as the rest of America should be too.
Here to discuss this, Stuart Varney, host of Varney & Company on the Fox Business Network. So it's not just one of 20. She's one of the top three candidates on the left. Top two, you could say.
And rising sharply.
Right. So
look, I think Wall Street, and especially the banks, have every right to be extremely concerned about a Warren presidency. They should be concerned about what's called her Accountable Capitalism Act. That is at the forefront of her economic policy. This is a disaster. This is the socialist takeover of American business. If this act were to go through, all companies would have to get a license, big companies, a license to do business. And if they get that the license
but
by
they're
the
already
federal government,
in business.
They would have to approach the government for a license to do business. And if they get that license, they would have to conform to all kinds of new standards.
Like
for
what?
example, the profits from that business would no longer go to the shareholders. No, not all to the shareholders. Some of the profits would have to go to the workforce, the community, customers, the local and global environment, and community and social factors, whatever that may be. The result is you take the profits away from shareholders and you're going to cut the stock price, which means that all those retirees, tens of millions of us who rely on the market, rely on stocks for our pension planning and our pension funding, we're going to be really out of luck if Elizabeth Warren is the president of the United States.
The title of her plan sounds a lot like Obamacare, in the Affordable Care Act, the Accountability Capitalism Act. She says she's a capitalist, but this sounds a lot like socialism.
Oh, it's socialism. It's the socialist takeover of American business. Profit is bad. Profit must be distributed to other people other than the owners of the business, the shareholders. Well, and look, it flies in the face of the economy's performance. Under President Trump, poverty is declining quite rapidly. People are working. We've got full employment. Household income is now $63,000 a year. We're back to the inflation-adjusted highs of 1999 and 2007. And people, as I said, people are working. Last year, 700,000 men and 1.6 million women found full-time, year-round employment.
Well, Stuart, tonight we're going to hear her say how she can make that better.
Right.
Can't wait.
Right.
Okay.
And Stuart will say it's going to get worse tomorrow on his show.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I will.
We'll see who is targeted more, Barack Obama or Donald Trump. Because last time they went after Obama more than Trump.
Joe Biden, too.
I would deal in Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
He's going to be the target.
All right. Stuart,
Stuart.
I really enjoyed our time.
Oh, so did I. You didn't get a question in.
I really didn't. 9 to noon. I'll talk to you in the break.
Okay.
Meanwhile, straight ahead.
Did not have, there's banks have been talking, and they do not have good net interest margin. I still wonder what it's like to have no CEO. What's that like, just?
You've been saying that for months.
You're talking about Wells Fargo. I mean, they have acting. By the way, most of the U.S. government's got acting.
Yeah, but see, that I don't know what the government is per share. Right. But Wells Fargo per share has been an underperformer. I don't know. In the end, I know Elizabeth Warren, don't listen. I favor CEOs.
You think it's positive to have a CEO?
I think, yeah. I mean,
listen, you know,
maybe not.
It is fascinating that they're having such a hard time finding somebody to take this
Intel had a hard find. Now, hard job finding.
Yeah, Bob Swan actually ended up, right.
Yeah, but I think
this has been harder.
But how is it possible that this company cannot find a CEO? I mean, are they worried about Elizabeth Warren attacking that? She or he would be.
Of course they are, and of course that person is. Why wouldn't they be?
I don't know.
If she becomes president, what do you think is going to happen to the banks?
Well, it would be a suboptimal situation for the banks.
Right.
You think Elizabeth Warren pushes banks into it? Well, they're already down 20% from the highs, but.
Yeah, I just think that there were these hearings in the 30s where they brought rich people in front of Congress and just kind of trashed them. It was effective.
Well, it's about 20 years later, we had the least discrepancy in incomes in the 50s and 60s, all right?
I don't know what's going to happen. Look, I've got to tell you, when you get off the desk and you talk to executives, they're more fearful of her winning. I mean, I've never heard anybody say, look, she's got to be stopped. She's got to be stopped. I don't know. She's very, she keeps going up in the polls.
She's raised a ton of money.
She's going to win Iowa,
time.
I believe. She's a very compelling figure on the stump.
By the way, I hear it too, and it's another reason why companies are being implored to do things now. If you want to get something done,
you really think
M&A or anything, think about doing it soon, because come early to mid 2020, if Elizabeth Warren's rolling along, everybody's going to be like, that's it.
So you're hearing it too?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder what China says about that exact question.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, she is so anti-pollution in China. Remember, she is a person who talks about the, like Mark Benioff in his book coming out, stakeholder, the Earth. The Earth is a stakeholder. Don't worry about that.
Benioff would probably be a supporter, wouldn't he?
We don't know. We don't know. Benioff is very close to the vest. Yes, very close to the vest.
You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab, and email. We are also on Spotify. Just go to the podcast section and type Canadian Politics with a twist, and you'll find us. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass on the links. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all our morning moments at Spreaker.com under A Radio. That's EHRADIO, A Radio. And please click on the like button. And you can now hear a weekend review of our podcasts on WHBJ DB, News Talk Radio. Join us and many others, and you can find all our podcasts and morning moments at aradio.wordpress.com. Click on the Morning Moments tab.